How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Yud Aleph, Daf 11 of Masechta BavaBasra. Friend. Okay, so today we finish up the Tzedakah Agaritas, and then we start like some Erevin kind of stuff. So again, kind of like this theme here in BavaBasra of Shtickle Erevin, Shtickle Agarita. A little Erevin, a little Agarita. So, alright. So here we go. We're going to start on Daf Yud Amud Beis, 2, 4, 5 lines from the bottom. Ifra Hurmiz, Ime Dishvar Malka. So Ifra Hurmiz, the mother of King Shapur of, I think, Persia. And we saw her the other day also by Pidin Shvuyim. I saw a sign. It says Pidin Shvuyim Mitzvah Gedola. It's from the Gemara that we saw the other day in BavaBasra and Daf Ches. So maybe I want to take a photo of it. I'll share it in the WhatsApp group. All right. So says the Gemara. Ifra Hurmiz ime deshvar malka shadra arba meo dinre lekamid Reb Ami veloy kablinu. She sent 400 golden dinars to Reb Ami, and he did not accept them. Shadar tinu lekame de Rave. She then sent them to Rave vekablinu, and Rave did accept the money. Mishum shlom malchus, in the interest of keeping the peace. Right? Didn't want to reject a gift from King Shapur's mother. Shama Reb Ami ikbid. Reb Ami heard that Rava accepted the gift, and now the gift was meant to be given to charity. So Reb Ami got upset that Rava accepted the gift. Amar, Reb Ami says, Leisley, does Rava not hold biyovish ktsira tishavarno, that when the harvest dries out, it will break? Meaning a reference to the Umis Ha'olam, that when they run out of all merit and they get dried out of merit, they will simply break. So therefore, why do we want to support them in increasing their merits by distributing charity for them? It would be much better if we just let them be meritless and break. Nashim Bos Meiros Osa. It's a continuation of that pasuk. I don't really know what it means. Women come and light it up? I don't know. Virave, now that could be interesting. The weed dries out and breaks, the women come and light it up. Now that is an interesting parish. Virave mishum shlom malchus, but Rave accepted it out of the interest of keeping the peace. Reb Ami nami mishum shlom malchus. So now Reb Ami also should have accepted it. Isn't he interested also in keeping the peace? You don't want to upset the mother of the king. Well, what I think maybe the point is that what Reb Ami got upset about was that, well, the thing is that if Rava is going to accept this money from her, he should then at least distribute it to Aniyei Ovdei Kochavim, so that there's no schar from that. Yeah, he didn't take the money and give it to Yidden. He gave it to Ovdei Kochavim, so there was no merit to kind of, so there wouldn't be meritful for her. So Reb Ami de Ikbid, who de lo Saimua Kaime, now Reb Ami wasn't aware that Rave distributed this money from Ifra Hurmiz to Ovdei Kochavim, thereby bypassing the schar aspect of it. Tanya Amru Olav Binyamin Atzadik. They said about Benjamin the Tzaddik. I assume that this is not Benjamin the son of Jacob. I assume that this is somebody whose name was Benjamin and he was a righteous individual. Shaymemuna al Kupe Shel Tzedakah. He was in charge of the communal charity fund. Pam achas boso isha lifanav b'shnei batzores. And one time a woman came before him during a year of famine. Amrlo, and she said to Binyamin HaTzadik, Rebbe Parnaseni, sustain me, I need food. Amr la, he says to her, Avoida she'en bekupe shel tzedakah klum. I swear by the service in the holy temple that there is no more charity in the fund to be distributed. Amar lo, she says to him, Rebbe, im i'ata mefarneseni, look, that may be all fine and good, that may be the case, but if you don't sustain me, are isha v'shiva bonel mesim, I along with my 7 children will perish. Do you want that on your conscience? Omar ufarnesa mi shelo. So Binyamin HaTzadik gave her what she needed from his own money, not from the fund. Liyamim chala, and then shortly after, I guess, Binyamin HaTzadik got sick. He was ill, v'notalamus, and he was going to die. And then the ministering angel said before the Eibishter, Ribono shel olam, Master of the world, Ata Omarta, you said, Kol HaMekayim nefesh achas mi Yisrael, anybody who supports, saves even one soul from Israel, Ki'ilu kiyem olam mole, it's as though he saved an entire world. Uvinyamin HaTzadik she'echya isha v'shiva bonel, Binyamin HaTzadik didn't just save one person, he saved a whole family, a woman with her 7 children. Yamos b'shanamu atos alalu, he's going to die at this young age. Miyad karulo gzardino, so immediately they tore up his negative deathly verdict. Tana osifilo esim v'shtayim shana al shnosav, and it was taught, I guess, in a brisa, that they added 22 years onto his life. Okay. Excuse me. Tanu Rabbanan, the Rabbi saw Maise bin Munbaz. There was a Maise with Munbaz. Rashi says that he was one of the Hasmonean kings, one of the Chashmonoim kings. Shebizbez otzrosov ve'otzris avosov b'shnei batzoris. It was a year of famine, and he distributed all of the wealth of his own wealth and his the wealth of his fathers in order to support the poor people during this famine. V'chibru olav echov uveis aviv, and his immediate family was not happy campers. V'amrlo, they said to him, Aveisecha gonzu v'osifa shel aveisam. Your fathers saved up. They were financially responsible. They saved their money, and they added it to the wealth of their fathers, and their wealth grew. Ve'ata mivaz bizam, and you are emptying out the coffers. You are ruining all of that wealth. You're losing all of it. You're giving it all away. Amr loem, Munbaz responds, Avoisai, my fathers, Gonzu lamata. Sure, maybe they accumulated wealth below on this world. Va'ani gonazdi lamaila. But I am accumulating wealth in the next world above. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Emes me eretz titzmach v'tzedek mishamayim nishkaf. That tzedek, I assume the point is tzedakah, is in the heavens. Avoisai gonzu b'makom shayad sheletes bo. My fathers stored away their wealth in a place that potentially somebody can take it away. V'ani gonazti b'makom she'ein hayad sheletes bo. But I am storing away my wealth in a place where nobody can get to it. Shenemar tzedek u'mishpat michon kisecha. That tzedek, which I guess is tzedakah, and judgment, michon kisecha, are the foundations of your throne. Go try and steal some. Go try and steal wealth from the throne of God. Good luck. Avosai gonzu davar she'ein ose peris. My fathers stored away something that does not make fruits. But I stored away something that makes fruits. Shenemar imrut tzadik ki tov ki pri malem yochelu. that a tzaddik, which I guess is tzedakah, and it says kiprima alem yochel, that they make fruits. Avoisai ganzu otsaris mamin, my fathers stored away storage houses of money. Vanigon as the otsaris nefashos, but I am storing away a storage house of souls. A storage house of souls. Storage house of souls. Now that is something. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Pri tzadik eitz chaim v'loikeach nefashis chacham. So I guess the point is there's a connection between tzadik and tzedakah and nefashis, souls. Avosai ganzu la'acherim v'anigon asti la'atzmi. My father stored away their wealth for others, but I stored it away for myself. Shenemar ulecha, see at tzedakah, that tzedakah will be for you. Avosai ganzu la'olam hazeh. My fathers stored away for this world. I stored away for the next world. That your tzedakah, charity, and righteousness will go before you, and the honor of God will scoop you up, I guess, in Olam Haba. And that concludes the 3-day tzedakah agadata. I think it was 3 days. So we had said in the Mishnah that if a person buys a house in a city, so then he immediately becomes like the people of the city to contribute to all of the expenses of the people. The Mishnah is not like Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, because our Mishnah says he has to purchase a home, whereas the Tanya Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Omer im kona ba karka kolshu, that even if he doesn't have to buy a home, even if he just buys any amount of land, even if it's tiny, Hareyu Kanchi Oyer is already considered like the people of the city. V'atanya Reb Shimon ben Gamliel Omer imkono shom karka ru'uya leveis dira Hareyu Kanchi Oyer. Wait, why are we saying that Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says that he has to buy any size of land? There's another brayso that says Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says that if he buys land that's large enough to be able to build a house on it, then he's considered like Anshi Oyer. There were two Tanoim who were quoting the opinion of Shimon Gamliel, and they quoted it differently. Now we get to a Mishnah. Got a Babylon. 1 sec. I feel like I haven't Babylon in a while. Rabbi Yisrael, how you doing? You still with us, Rabbi Yisrael? How'd you like Bava Metzia? Blew your mind, right? Rabbi Yisrael is usually a few days. Rabbi Yisrael is usually a few days behind, so we'll wait for your. Rabbi Yisrael, we'll wait for your response. All right. Okay, we are starting a new Mishnah. Ein cholken es a chotzer ad sheyei arba amis loze v'abamis loze. So, as we learned already, I think on daf beis, on the first daf, that we only divide up a chotzer if there would be, I assume it's 4 amas by 4 amas for each of the two. Okay, so if it's like, I guess 8 amas by 4 amas or something, you can divide it in half, and it's 4 amas by 4 amas for each individual. So then you can divide it up. All right, but if it's less than that, then you don't. V'lo esa shida esa v'lo esa soda jehei ba tisha kabin loze v'tisha kabin loze, and not a field unless each would get 9 calves. Rabbi Yehuda Omer jehei ba tisha chatzoye kabin. Rabbi Yehuda says each would have to just get 9 half calves. So I guess that's half the amount. Loze v'tisha chatzoye kabin loze. Each would have to get 9 half calves. V'lo es agino, and not the garden. Ajiyeba chatzi kav loze v'chatzi kav loze. A garden, each would have to get half of a kav. Rabbi Akiva Omer beis rova. I assume that's a quarter of a kav. V'lo es a traklin, v'lo es a moran, v'lo es a shovach, v'lo es a talis, v'lo es a merchotz, v'lo es beis abad, v'lo es beis ashlochin. And not a traklin and a moran. It's like these two kinds of palaces or sorts, something like that. V'lo es a shovach, not a dovkot, v'lo es a talis. Shnai moichzim betalis. Bring back warm, fuzzy memories of Bava Metzia. V'lo es ha-merchotz, and not a bathhouse, v'lo es beis abad, and not a olive press, v'lo es beis ashlochin, and not a field with a stream in it, achei boed, Kidei laze v'chidei laze, there would have to be enough, I guess, for each person to get value from it. That if you can divide it up and it still retains its name, so then you divide it up in lav, but if you divide it up and it wouldn't retain its name, it would be just like unuseful and like not anything. So ein cholkin, then you don't divide it up. Now when is this that we don't divide it up? Is manche ein shnei rotzim, if they don't both want to divide it up, so then we don't divide it up, right? Even if neither of them want to divide it up, so of course we don't divide it up. If one of them wants to divide it up, he cannot force the other to divide it up. But if both of them want to, right? But if they both want to divide it up, nonetheless, so even if there isn't enough space for each to get 4 amas by 4 amas, divide it up. When it comes to the Holy Scripture, even right, like a Sefer Torah, for example, even if they both want to divide it up, you do not divide it up. And the Gemara, I believe, starting tomorrow already, or depending where we stop, I guess. No, tomorrow. No, I think maybe the day after tomorrow. We are going to start talking about things about the scripture and stuff. Very interesting stuff. So, but already tomorrow we're going to be getting back into like, I wouldn't say Agadita, but some interesting stuff. BavaBasra is been very interesting so far. Combination of Eruvin and Agadita. Okay. Where are we? Okay. Says the Gemara, Amar Vasi says Basra Rabbi Yochanan, Arba Amis she'amru chutz mishel pisachim. That when the Mishnah says that there has to be, right, you only divide it up if there's 4 amis for each of them, that is in addition to 4 amis in front of each of the doorways. So of course, like in Masechta Eruvin, we are talking about chatzeros that have houses that open up into them. So that you have a chatzer and there's 2 houses, one for Reuven, one for Shimon. So in front of the door of the house, they memela get 4 amas, each one gets 4 amas in front of their door. That is for being able to like unload groceries and things to be able to bring into the house. So they need space in front of their door, 4 amas. And then in addition to that, there has to be 4 amas for each of them. Learn in a brisa like this. Ein cholkim es hachotzer ad sheyeba shmoina amis loze v'shmoina amis loze. We taka oichet learn in a brisa that you only divide it up if there is 8 amis for each. V'anan tnan arba amis loze v'arba amis loze. We said 4 amis each, not 8 amis each. Elo shmamino k'Rab Asi. Rather, it's like Rabasi Shmamino. V'ika derami leu mirma. Those who taka have the same end result, but they taka ask it as a kasha. Tnan, on the one hand, we learn in our Mishnah, that we only divide up the courtyard once there's 4 amis for each. We learn in the Brisa shmoina amis loze v'shmoina amis loze. We learn in the Brisa that there has to be 8 amis for each. So nu, what's pshat? Why 4 amis, 8 amis? Nu. That when it says 4 amis, that is in addition to the 4 amis in front of the doors. Amar Rav Huna, says Rav Huna. Is there a mosquito in here? Please tell me no. Come on, no mosquitoes. Come in. Mosquitoes, we'll find somewhere else to go. All right. Amar Rav Huna, says Rav Huna. Says Rav Huna that a chotzer is divided up based on its doors. So, for example, if you have a father who owns a chotzer, in the chotzer there are 2 houses. One house has 1 entrance, the other house has 2 entrances. The father passes away and his 2 sons inherit it. Let's forget about like a bechor or anything like that even. So you divide it, so I guess whoever gets, so let's say Reuven gets 1 house, Shimon gets the other house. Now, Shimon's house has 2 doors in it, so Shimon gets 2/3 of the chotzer, whereas Reuven would get 1/3 of the chotzer, because the chotzer would be divided up based on how many doors for each house. So again, Amar Rav Huna says, that a chotzer is divided up based on how many doorways belong to each person. Rav Chizda Omar, whereas Rav Chizda says, Nosnin arba amis l'chol pesach ufesach. No, what you do is, for each doorway, you get 4 amis. Okay, so Shimon would get 4 amas for each of his doorways, whereas Reuven would get 4 amas for his doorway, but he only has 1, Shimon has 2, so Shimon gets like 8 amas, Reuven gets 4. But Ve'ashar, then all the rest of the area of the courtyard, Cholkim b'Shava, they would divide in half. Tani Kavasu to Rav Chizda, we talk about like Rav Chizda, Psachim shebechotzer, that the doorways to the houses in the chotzer, Yeshlein Arba Amis, they have 4 amis in front of them. Hoya loze Pesach echad v'loze shnei psachim. So if Reuven has 1 door to his house and Shimon has 2 doors to his house, Zeh sheyesh le Pesach echad notel Arba Amis. So Reuven, who has only 1 door to his house, so he gets 4 amis in front of his door. V'zeh sheyesh lo shnei psachim, and Shimon, who has 2 doors to his house, notel shmona amis, so he gets 8 amis, 4 for each door. Bashar, and then the rest of the area of the chotzer cholkim b'shava, they would divide equally between them 2. Ha'ilozah pesach rochav shmona amis. If let's say Reuven's door was 8 amis wide, notel shmona amis keneged pesach v'arba amis b'chotzer. So he takes 8 amis opposite the doorway and 4 amis in the chotzer. What are we talking about? So what it means is that if Reuven has a door that's 8 amis wide, so he would get 4 amis in front of the door. So be'etzem, for an 8, for you oh gosh, Reuven, here I am trying to explain this stuff. He has a doorway that's 8 amis wide. So in front of the entire, he gets 4 amis in front of the entire doorway. So that's an area 8 amas by 4 amas. Does that make sense? I hope so. Omer Ameimer, Hai Pere de Souffle, Yesh Lo Arba Amis L'choruach Varuach. So if you have some kind of a pit that you would put like some kind of a ditch or something that you would put like date pits and stuff in it for the animals would eat that stuff. All right. Where am I? So I paired the souffle yesh lo arba amis ruach ruach. So there would be some kind of a pit that you would throw pits into. Maybe that's why they call it a pit, because they throw pits into it. What do you think? That a pit is called a pit because back in the day they would throw date pits into a hole in the ground for the animals to eat. So they called the hole a pit. So says a Meimar, this pit for the pits. So 4 amis around in all directions belong to whoever's pit it is. That is only if the pit is like somewhere in the chotzer, but not directly opposite a door. Meaning, if the pit is like right opposite the door, that he basically just like throws the seeds out the door into the pit, well then he just gets 4 amis in front of the door. But if the pit is in some other part of the chotzer, so then there's 4 amis around the pit. Ravuna says, okay, so now we get to like some very kind of Eruvin-y kind of stuff. We're going to talk about Mavoi. We're talking about Mavoi. Do we even talk about Mavoi Amafulash? Does that come up? I don't remember if Mavoi Amafulash. What's the opposite of Mavoi Amafulash? Mavoi She'ena Mafulash, I think. Eruvin kind of things. Ravuna says, Ravuna, Achsadra. Remember, there was some machlokas between Rav and Shmuel, I think, about an Achsadra in Eruvin. Maybe it was like a machlokas if it's like Rosh Hashanah or Rosh Hashanah or something. I feel like in Eruvin there was like this machlokas Rav and Shmuel that kept on coming up about Achsadra, but I can't remember. Ravuna says, Ravuna, Achsadra ein lo dalid amis. That in Achsadra does not have 4 amis around it. Why? Because Taimamai, how come, what's the reason for this 4 amis thing? As I said earlier, that you have 4 amis in front of the doorway, so you have a place to unload your donkey, right? You come back from the supermarket with your donkey, you have to unload, you can't bring the donkey into your house, so you have space in front of the doorway to unload. But in Achsadra is open, there are no walls in Achsadra, it's like 4 poles with a roof on top. So just bring the donkey inside the Achsadra, you don't need extra room. So Mishum Perik Maso, it's in order to unload burdens. Just bring the donkey inside the Achsadra and unload it, so you don't need extra space in the Chotzer. Most of Sheshes, Rav Sheshes Asakasha, Echad Shairei Batim, whether it's the gates to houses, Ve'echad Shairei Achsadros, or whether it's a gate to an Achsadra, Yesh Lo in Dalet Amis. They do have 4 Amis in front of them. Kitani A'i B'Achsadra Devei Rav. That's not talking about a standard Achsadra, that's talking about an Achsadra, I guess of the Beis HaMedrash, I think, where that there were walls, there were just windows on top of it. Achsadra Devei Rav, Pshita, Idrona Ma'alya, Hu. But Achsadra Devei Rav, then what's the Chiddush? Obviously, it's just a regular room. So Ele B'Achsadra Rom Yosa, it's an Achsadra Rom Yosa, it's like an Achsadra with like small kind of walls, almost like good Asik walls, like just kind of small walls, but they're mostly open. It's like I went when I was a young boy. I went to a camp called Camp Morasha, and in that camp there was something called the Pavilion. I'm thinking it's like the Pavilion kind of. So the Pavilion would have 4 amas in front of it to unload the donkeys. We didn't have donkeys in Camp Morasha. Maybe we should have. Let's go weiter. So, all right. Where am I? All right, fine. So there you get 4 amas. Taner Rabban, the rabbis taught, Beis Shar Achsadra Umir Peses. If you have a Beis Shar, which is like this, little enclosure, what does Rashi say? Does he say anything? Beis Shar Bais Kohen Shelifnei Pesach Traktim v'Kohen. Okay, it was like this little entrance house, but I guess for palaces. Achsadra, as well as an Achsadra, Umir Peses, and like a second story, Yesh Lein Dalet Amis, they have 4 Amis. Okay, I guess that would be an Achsadra like we just talked about, like Achsadra Rum Yasa. So Umir Peses is like a second floor. So if on the second floor there were 5 houses, 5 apartments on the second floor that all shared the same kind of shared space, but they would get up to the second floor using the same stairway, the same ladder. So opposite the ladder, there's 4 amas in the courtyard for unloading and stuff. Even though on the second floor there's a bunch of apartments that open up into the one chutzner, into one mirpeses, but they all go down into the chutzner via one ladder. So there's only 4 amas in front of that ladder. This next thing, I'll be honest, I don't really understand it. If somebody wants to enlighten me, please. I am ready to be enlightened. If you have a chicken coop, okay, if you have a chicken coop, is there 4 amas in front of, I guess, the entrance to the chicken coop or not? So Rabbi Yana says, well, what's the point of the 4 amas? The point of the 4 amas is in order to unburden stuff, right? In order to take things down off the donkey or something. Here the chickens or something climb over the walls and stuff. Okay. What does Rashi say? I don't understand what the point is. And because these chickens climb over the walls, therefore what? Therefore it doesn't need to unload stuff? Or maybe you can oh, you know what maybe it means? Oh, maybe is that what it means? I don't know what it means. I don't really know what it... Yeah, I don't know what it means. And that's supposed to be some reason why it doesn't get 4 amas? Maybe because it's considered open? Yeah, I don't really get it. Okay, so what if you have a house? We said that a house in a chutzner gets 4 amas in front of the doorway. Now what if the house was a funny kind of house? Only half of the roof was roofed, the other half was open. So what's the point why what's the reason why you have 4 amas in front of the doorway to unload stuff? Well, because your house is filled with furniture. So you can't bring a donkey into your house and start unloading. There's no room. But if you have a house where half of the roof is open, so you're not going to really furnish it so densely, so because it's open to the elements, so maybe you should be able to bring your donkey into that structure, and therefore maybe you should not have 4 amas in front of the doorway. So Ba'amine Ravim Rav Nachman Bayis Chetzu Mekor v'Chetzu Enu Mekor. If it's half roofed, half unroofed, Yesh lo Dalet Amos, so in the Dalet Amos. So does it have Dalet Amos in the Chotzer in front of the doorway or not? Do you just bring the animal inside? Omar Le. So Rav Nachman answers Ein lo Dalet Amos, that there is no 4 Amos in the courtyard in this case. Lami Baryo Keruyo Mi Legov. Certainly, if the roofing is further away, right? Meaning when you enter into the structure, it is unroofed, and only the further half is roofed, which means that if you bring your donkey into the first, immediately into the house, it's the unroofed, unfurnished part. So certainly there, you would just bring the donkey inside and unload. Just bring the donkey inside and unload there. But even if it's the first part of the house that is roofed, and you'd have to walk through that area to get to the unroofed part, so maybe you would say, well, you can't bring all the stuff in there, it's furnished. Still, I think because since part of it is unroofed, you're not really going to furnish it that densely, and you would be able to bring your animal into such a structure and unload it. But Rav Huna asks Rab Ami, Echod mibnei Mavui shabikesh la'achzer pischo lemavui acher. Bnei mavui ma'akvin olav o ein ma'akvin olav. Ho li shnai keys. Chevra, a Ravin. You need a diagram. Pashit, you need a diagram. You Pashit need a diagram. I'm looking at a diagram right now. So I will describe what I'm looking at. If you have an art scroll Gemara, I'm looking at 11b2. There's diagrams. There's 2 diagrams. I'm looking at the lower down diagram. So, what was I looking at before? I don't know. Anyways, what was I just looking at? I don't know. Whatever. So, I'm looking at the lower diagram. So, you have a mavu. Oh my God. It's like Erevin. You have like two mavuis. You have a mavui on the left. I'm going to complain a little bit, and then I'm going to, not really complain, kvetch, and then I'm going to explain and probably kvetch while I'm not really kvetching, but I just don't know how I'm supposed to explain this. You need to look at it. But anyways, you got a mavui on the left with some houses that open into it, and then you got a mavui on the right with some houses that open into it. They're kind of parallel, and then each mavui has like 2 chotzers that open into it. Now the thing is, so in this diagram, we're looking at the second chotzer and the left mavui. So that chotzer opens up into the mavui on the left. The thing is, the back of those houses the back wood is kind of on the wall of the mavui to the right. So theoretically, if you blow a hole into the back of the house on the left side, you can kind of make a doorway into the mavui on the right. But currently that doorway doesn't exist. So the question is, can a person in the mavui on the left blow a hole into his back wall so that he now has an exit into an entrance into the mavui on the right? Or can the people in the mavui on the right say, hey, we don't want you, using our mavui, stick with the mavui that you're using? Chevra, I tried. Alright. Now, so where am I? So I think I'm not skipping. So again, Rav Huna asks Rav Ami. So the goes Abach changed it to Rav Ami. Okay. So if one of the people in the left mavui wanted to blow a hole through his back wall in order to be able to use the right mavui, B'nei mavi ma'akvin olav o ein ma'akvin olav, can the people in the right mavui say, hey, we don't want you doing that? Omar lei, so Rav Ami says, B'nei mavi ma'akvin olav, yes, the people in the mavui to the right can say, we don't want you doing that. Achsanya lefi, did we? Wait, let me just make sure I didn't skip anything. Okay. Achsanya lefi b'nei adam mischalekes or lefi psochim mischalekes is. So the achsanya would be that the soldiers of the king would board in the homes of people. So if you have an apartment building with lots of apartments in it, is there responsibility for boarding these soldiers based on lefi psachim mischalekes? Lefi bnei adam mischalekes? Is it based on how many apartments are in the building? So if there's 10 apartments in the building, so they would be responsible for 10, houses worth of people, of soldiers. Or lefi psachim mischalekes? Or is it based on the entrance? And there's only one entrance to the building, so they're only responsible for one group of soldiers. So Amar Leiser of Ami says Lefi Bnei Adam Mischalekes. It's based on the number of apartments. Each apartment would be responsible for soldiers. Tanan Amiyachi, you also learn in a verse like this. Zevel Shabachotz Mischalekes Lefi Psachim. That putting like manure and stuff out, or I guess like garbage and stuff out in front of your door. That I guess it would make fertilizer. So that you have, I guess, 4 amis in front of the Pesach to put that. Achsanya lefi bnei adam, and the boarding for the soldiers of the king is based on the number of apartments in the building. Amar Rafuna says, Rafuna, echad mipnei mavui shebikesh listom kineged pischo. So you have a mavui, okay? In the mavui, you would go from the Rosh Hashanah into the mavui, and then you'd have different chatzeris that open up into the mavui. So let's say you have 5 chatzeris that open up into the mavui, and one of the chatzeris wants to, so we said, so each, I guess each chotzer would have 4 amis in front of his entrance into the mavui. So I think that's what it is saying. Let me just make sure. No. Yeah, I guess. Interesting. I guess a chotzer also gets 4 amis in the mavui. Kili, we said a house gets 4 amis in the chotzer, but also I guess a chotzer gets 4 amis in the mavui. So if one of the chotzers wants to, let me just double check that once again. Yeah, I guess it's talking about a chotzer opening up into a mavui. Okay, so where am I? So I lost my place now. So again, Ada Amar Ravuna says, Ravuna echad mibnei mavui. So if one of the chotzers in the mavui, shebikesh listom kineged pischo, who wants to kind of enclose the 4 amis area that he has in front of his entrance, his door. Bnei mavui ma'akvan olav. So the other people in the mavui would be able to say, hey, we don't want you to enclose the Dalet Amos, Shemar Balein Saderech, because that's inconvenient for us. Okay, it's one thing to say that when your donkey comes in from the market, you can unload your donkey in the 4 Amos in front of your doorway. That's one thing. But to enclose that so that permanently we have to walk around that area, that's annoying. We're not okay with that. Meisvei, we have a kasha and Rav Huna. Chomesh chatzeres psuches lemavui. If you have 5 chatzers that are open into a mavui, kulon mishtamshis im hachitzona. So all of them are allowed to use the area, to walk through and to utilize the area of the first chatzer, right? Because everybody needs to walk past the first chatzer to get to their own chatzer. V'achitzona mishtameshes leatzma. But the person who lives in the first chatzer really can't get any benefit from the rest of the mavui past his chotzer. He has no business going past his chotzer. V'ashar mishtamshos, where am I? So im achitzona, v'achitzona mishtameshes atzma. V'ashar mishtamshos im ashniya, and all of the other chotzers are able to use the area by the second one. Wait 1 second, let me check out something. No. Okay, okay. I'm looking at Rashi again. Sorry. Orkov is. Okay, that's fine. All right. Yeah. Okay. I don't know exactly what exactly he's planning to do in that area, but at least to walk through it. I don't know. Use it. Put things down in there. I don't know. So. Where am I? So Vashar Mishamshos Ima Shnia. So Chotzers 2 through 5 can get benefit from Chotzer 2's area in front of his Chotzer. Vashnia Mishtameshes Le'atzmo, Mishtameshes Machitzona, and Chotzer number 2 can obviously use the area in front of his own Chotzer as well as the area in front of Chotzer number 1 that he passes by, but that's where he ends. He can't go past his own Chotzer. Nimtzes Pnimis, so the one furthest in, Mishtameshes Le'atzmo, Mishtameshes Imkol Achas V'achas, can get benefit and utilize the area in front of all of the Chotzers, because the one furthest inward needs to walk through the entire mavui to get to his chotzer. So the point being, Rav Huna had said that if, let's say a person in chutzner number 2 wants to enclose the area in front of his chutzner, anybody in the mavui can protest, even the person in chutzner number 1. But we have this brisa which says that chutzner number 1 is only concerned with the area in front of his chutzner, and that's it. So he wouldn't be able to protest apparently against chutzner number 2 enclosing that area. So Tanoi, we say it's taka machlekes Tanoim, the Tani that we learn in the brisa echad mipnei mavui shebikesh laachzer pischo lemavui acher. So if one of the people in the mavui, like we explained earlier, wants to blast a hole through his back wall into the mavui on the right, bnei mavui ma'akvin olav, so the people in the mavui on the right could say, we don't want you to do that. However, if there was already a door there originally and he wants to reopen it, right, it was closed, sealed up, and now he wants to reopen it, well then, ein bnei mavui ma'akvin olav, divrei Rebbe. According to Rebbe, then in that case, the people in the mavui on the right cannot stop him. Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Omer says, Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Chomish chatzeris apsuchis lemavui, 5 chatzers that are open to a mavui, kulam shtamshos b'mavui zo imzo. So they can all use the mavui together. So we see that Reb Shimon ben Elazar is saying that all of them have equal rights to the mavui, like Rav Huna was saying. Chatzeris man t'chashmayu. But one second, why is Reb Shimon ben Elazar all of a sudden talking about chatzeris? Technically, if you look at this brisa, we hadn't said anything about chatzers yet, right? If you back up a few lines, Tanei Tani echad mibnei mavui shebikish achzer pischo lemavui acher bnei mavui makvin olav hayososim vikish foscho ein bnei mavui makvin olav tivei Rebbe. All of a sudden Reb Shimon ben Elazar omer chomish chatzeris absuchen the mavui kulam shtamshos b'mavui zo imzo. So chatzeris man d'chashmayu. Why all of a sudden is Reb Shimon ben Elazar talking about chatzeris? The Brisa didn't mention chatzers until now. You have to add a few words. And similarly, if you have 5 chatzeris that are open into a mavui, kulam mishtamshos im achitzona, v'achitzona mishtameshes la'atzma v'chulei. So then, we each one, all of them can use the area of the first chatzer, but the first chatzer can't go past his own chatzer. Divrei Rebbe, that's Rebbe's opinion. Reb Shimon ben Elazar, Omer says Reb Shimon ben Elazar, chomish chatzeres apsuchas lemavui kulon mishtamshos b'mavui, that no, all of the chatzeres can use the mavui. Friends, that was Daf Yud Aleph Masechta BavaBasra, a shtickle erevin over there at the end, but we wrapped up the agaritas about stocke, and then we got started on some erevin type things, and tomorrow we will continue in Masechta BavaBasra. Peace out.